I spent 1 hour grinding the quest, 1 hour grinding for money, 300 gems, and 500k down the drain already just for the materials. This is going to hurt really bad, but here goes nothing. Oh my god, I'm going to close my eyes. Oh my god. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, my fellow elemental dungeoners, because most of you guys live elsewhere, but that's what makes YouTube such a great platform. So actually talking about today's topic, let me showcase the biggest scam in elemental dungeons and tell you guys about how to get it if you still even want to get it after seeing my suffering. As you know, I can't even afford a cardboard box anymore. I sold my soul to the scientist who turned me into a commoner. Actually, no, I'm just a straight up bum now. So please, if you guys don't mind, support me by dropping a like or subscribe. But anyways, let me show you guys where the scammer is. I mean scientist. And let's talk about the radar ability craft material and the quests that he gives, because it's going to be very grindy. Now to start, you need 8 tech chips and 3 drives. And there's only one way you can get tech chips. They come from our lovely merchant at a whopping average price of 200k for 2 chips, or you can get them for a couple hundred gems, which I think is honestly the better way to go about purchasing them, because you still need 1 million to craft the actual radar ability. Hooray, the devs are so considerate, guys. Now you can also get the flash drives the same way, through money or gems, but you can actually get them through the quest. And speaking of the quest, you're gonna have so much fun. The first quest he'll give you is to kill 250 of any kind, and that's easy peasy until he tells you to kill 1000 ancient tomb mobs, kill 500 jungle mobs, kill 1000 ancient tomb mobs again. Finally, to end off your killing spree, you need to kill 2000 castle snow mobs. At this point, you're committing mass genocide for science, am I right? Anyways, you get your 3 flash drives and you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, was it worth it? I sure thought it was worth it. Okay, let's talk on a real note about why no one should get this ability, and I'm being honest because it's not necessary. Let me first show you guys how this ability works and its application. Now, there's only one realistic scenario where you'd use this, and that would be to find a lost enemy, which I guess will help you save a couple seconds. But then again, you're already 2 hours in time debt by grinding for this goofy ability. And then, I guess to counter-argue this application, to prove it's utterly useless, let's say an enemy does get stuck somewhere. It doesn't matter because they'll just teleport back to their original location after a while if they've gone too far. I just can't think of any good applications for this ability, and it makes me so infuriated that the developers think people want this. No, we don't need this, but it would have been a nice quality of life if instead the dungeon would just mark the last few enemies after some time has passed. I mean, the ability is dog water. If you really want to propose a silver lining, I guess you could shoot your abilities through balls to kill enemies. Just use your dang eyes, because most of these dungeons have a visible trail of enemies that lead you to the next enemy, or it has pretty obvious sections for where enemies are placed. It's also not like your enemies spawn in different places every time you visit the same dungeon. It's the same layout, and after a couple of runs in the dungeon, you'll generally get the gist of where all the enemies are. I just want to say, high-key, the developers trolled with this, because it makes no sense. If many people cannot find mobs easily, then that's not the player's fault. That's a gameplay design issue regarding the map layout, and we shouldn't give a remedy to a problem that should have never been there in the first place. So I just want to say that 1, it's not viable. You have to be at least level 75 to complete the quest given. And I have a burning question that remains unanswered by the intentions behind this. Who is it targeted towards? As in, which player actually needs this? Beginner player? Veteran players? If it's the case that players are having trouble finding enemies, then why make it so hard to attain? By level 75, you've already played 3 dungeons, and then now you're giving this quality of life ability which is not even free? Does this make any sense at all? 2. Adding on top of that, no one under level 75 is going to have a fortune of money unless they are paid to win, so they can't afford the materials from the merchant, nonetheless crafting the actual ability once they do. 3. The ability has a 1-minute cooldown timer. I complete most of my dungeons in less than 5 minutes. Most of the time, it's not taking people more than 1 minute to complete a section of the map, let alone that the enemies don't even stay marked for that long. What's the use in this radar ability if I can't use it frequently enough to meet its expectations, aka helping me to find enemies? Hooray! 4. Look at how clunky the gameplay is. You're telling me it takes a millennium to find the enemies, and on top of that, once you kill them, it doesn't even get rid of the markers, so it just makes everything all the more confusing? Like, this thing seems like a money grab more than anything practical. It's like buying luxury premium clothing when you can buy regular clothing for a small fraction of that price, and it achieves the same thing. This ability is a flex, a useless flex. I didn't expect to talk this much about it, but it was just something on my mind ever since it was released, and I just had to get it to prove a point. They need to adjust the price or incentive to make people want to get this. A better suggestion would to just give it to people once they reach a certain level for free. Yeah, but whatever, that wraps up my rant. I've been, honestly, oh my god. I've been going on a lot about it.